Hey there, Jonathan here. If you're new to online teaching, you're going to want to see this. So I'm going to break this down into a few different parts. Introduction, online teaching as a whole, Qkids hiring process, and my general thoughts. So stay tuned. Why teach English online? Well, for me, number one, flexibility. I have the capacity to maintain a full-time job during the day, and then I can choose or create my schedule around that, working either morning or evening hours. That's from the convenience of my own home. So that's just really huge for me, is that flexibility piece. Number two is just, I guess, the reward of teaching children in itself, right? If you've taught children before or taught adults before or done any type of teaching, you kind of understand the reason why you're in that field, right, is because it's something you really enjoy. You're not doing it to be a millionaire. So that's something I started in the past teaching in a classroom setting, and now I have the ability to work online. So I guess that type of reward, and also there's a monetary reward. Companies pay either from $16 to $26 an hour, depending on your experience, other things like that. Depends on the company, of course. So those are the three reasons for me, and we'll get into the introduction. Okay, so some of the requirements for teaching English online: being a native English speaker, and maybe about half of the companies require you to reside in either the US or Canada. Obviously, you have to have a fast enough internet connection to be able to run their programs and platforms. You have to have a computer that has enough capacity to do video, other things like that. So they offer, to check your speed, and you may have to send them the specs of your computer, so they know that you have what it takes to be a teacher with them. A bachelor's degree, or being in school at the time pursuing a bachelor's degree. Some of the companies I've noticed, they do allow that. Teaching license or a teaching certificate. So I myself have a TESOL certificate, which is Teaching English as a Second Language. I completed that completely online. It was a 120-hour course. And obviously you're going to have to put together some type of resume and submit that. Now, they do like, obviously, to have experience. I have experience working in a classroom setting teaching adults ESL. I do not have online experience. I do have a daughter, which I raise, so I think, you can be creative with how you lift yourself up with that experience category. Let's get into Qkids hiring process. So I'd say this is a 5-step process. 1 being application, 2 being interview 1, 3 being interview 2, and then you have a minimum of 2 trial courses that you teach. So let's get started with the application. Pretty easy. Just submit your information. Also, you may have to include screenshots of your certificates or degrees, as well as creating a small video as an introduction. So I submitted that. I got it a return email back, I think the next day or day and a half or so. Kind of odd hours that they email you because they're in China. So it might be 10 p.m., might be 11 p.m. Yep, so they emailed me back, and they wanted to do interview number 1. So they submitted, told me to log into their system, submitted me a link. I did so. From what I read is you need to kind of know the program before you go into the interview. So I spent some time, easily more than an hour, looking at their platform, getting a feel for how it works, clicking through different slides, and making sure I knew what the tools did that the platform offered, because that's what they look for in number interview number 1. They asked a few minor questions, mostly, where's the spotlight? Can you show me how to do a text box? Things like that. So they also offered feedback because after they go through the tools asking you questions, the interview host, you essentially teach them as if they were a child. So a little bit weird, but I think most companies do it that way. So within that lesson plan, right, you're clicking through slides teaching the interview host, and at the end of each slide that you teach, they give you feedback. So they tell you, I really enjoyed you doing this. You did a great job on this. If you could also have done it this way, right? So the feedback was really good, very positive. I came into it pretty nervous, and I felt good afterwards, just because I don't know, they're delicate and they treat you well and they give you a lot of information to build yourself. So that was just a positive feeling for me. The interview host, we scheduled interview number 2 after that. So I went into, actually I spent, like I did on the first interview, I spent quite a bit of time, probably an hour and a half or more, looking at the new slides that I'm going to be teaching. Also thinking of maybe what questions they might ask. And they did ask some questions for interview number 2. I recall one of them was, why do you want to work with Qkids? My answer for that is they're not like the other platforms or the other companies, right? I've submitted applications before. I've even had to create a video on YouTube for introduction and me mock teaching. And, that's pretty time intensive, and sending it in and, getting a denial email back, but I don't know what I did wrong, right? So a lot of companies don't offer that feedback. Or another one, company I've applied to, a couple of them actually have sent me a contract right away, right? But I don't know their platform. I don't know how to use their system. I don't know what's going to be like working with them. Obviously I read the contract, but I don't have that one-on-one. I don't know what it's going to actually be like, me being an online teacher with them. So what I appreciate for Qkids is that I have that interaction. I get the feedback. I can clearly see what I'm getting myself into. So long story short, that was kind of my long-winded answer to that question. But you should kind of know what they asked for. Another one was, why should we hire you as a teacher? And for me, I guess I'm passionate about it. My passion started when I taught adults ESL in the classroom. So that's kind of what sparked my interest. It's a great and motivating feeling being able to do that. So that's what sparked me. I want to grow. I want to become better. And essentially that was my answer to question number 2. So we quickly got into the teaching section, clicking through the slides, and obviously I studied it. I figured I knew how to do certain things. It didn't go quite as smooth as I would have hoped, but the host offered a lot of feedback, and I took that in, wrote notes, and then I was offered to do 2 trial courses. So I scheduled those not together, right? I heard some stories about other Qkids teachers starting out and doing them together and maybe running out of time for the first one and having to reschedule the second one because they had another teacher come and teach that. So I didn't want to get myself into that, so I did it 2 different days. I wanted to make sure I had enough time to practice all the slides, do what I needed to do to be as good as I could be. So I came walking into the first meeting, first trial course, a little off guard because when I clicked to open the classroom, I was, maybe 5 minutes early or so. I didn't anticipate to see the children already waving to me. So I felt like I didn't get time to prepare to get stuff on the screen ready. So I just had to get into it. And I did end up running out of time on that first trial class. So I guess I didn't manage my time as good as I could have. I spent too much time in certain areas, which I should have just kept going and done activities as a whole class rather than individual. And that would have helped my time out. So once again, I came into it a little bit nervous, and I learned a lot. And then I had class number 2, and that went much better because I had an idea how much time I should be spending on each one, and when to bring the kids in individually as opposed to a whole class setting. I used a lot of the tools that they want you to do, a lot of the TPR stuff, and even, some props, things like that. So doing your homework helps, makes you feel a little more comfortable. So at this point, we're at 2 trial courses here, and we'll see what's next with Qkids. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave the comments below. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also, I do have a referral code. If you're interested in applying, if you use the referral code, I get a kickback from that. Also, it helps me do videos like this. If you're looking to get another video discussing certain aspects of Qkids, just let me know. We'll go from there. And thanks for watching.